Do you have a trauma, my friend? Then you are lucky. If 95% of the things you are going to think about today are the things you are thinking about yesterday, then, my friend, it means the same life you had yesterday is the same life you are going to have today. Why? Because same thoughts results to same experiences. Same experiences results to same life. So if you are thinking about the same things you are thinking yesterday, you are going to live the kind of life you lived yesterday. When it comes to trauma healing, if that memory is not serving you, why are you replaying it? Now, let me tell you something, frankly. Let me be honest with you. I want to tell you a secret to begin with this morning. If I was God, believe me, I would start my day by pinching everybody who wakes up frown. Seriously, if I was God, I would wake up pinching everybody who is not waking up happy. Because why would you not wake up smiling? And you are one of the luckiest people who have made it alive today. Imagine, there are millions of people who have died while you are sleeping. But here you are, alive. Alright? So even if things this morning are not flowing as you expected them to, or if things are not as aligned as you expected them to this morning, don't worry, my friend. You're just having a bad morning. That's all. That does not mean that you're going to have a bad day. This is just the morning. This is just the start of the day. So you get so many other hours today to decide how the day is going to end. How are you this morning? Second of all, other than me being God and pinching everybody who is not waking up with a smile. So I really appreciate you people. You are amazing people for making it possible for us to continue going live on Facebook. Remember, we were going live, and then at some point the criteria for going live was changed by Facebook company. So we must have at least 100 followers, of which you did that within a matter of 2 days. So now we have more than even 100 followers, and we are growing. So thank you so much. That's why I'm so much committed to be doing this, as I promised, 3 days in a week. That is why I'm here today. Now, the most amazing thing about today's show is that we are going to heal our traumas. This is the day when the journey of your trauma healing begins. It is today, and I believe that you are going to mark this day in your calendar. Because after a long time of research, I've come to discover the very, very best way that somebody can heal from trauma even without needing any much external assistance from others. Yes, at some point, if the trauma is very intense, you need somebody to assist you through the journey. But today marks the first day of your healing journey. You know, in the current generation, trauma has become like a lifestyle. You meet somebody and they are like, you expect everybody to have something traumatic that happened to them when they were young. And these days, when you meet somebody who doesn't have a trauma, you are like, hey guys, come around, gather around and see somebody who doesn't have a trauma. So trauma in the current generation is like a lifestyle. Almost everybody has it. And so if almost everybody has it, then we should talk more about it, so that those people who are suffering anything traumatic that they have experienced in their life, they can be able to heal. And that is where I'm here this amazing morning, so that we can get to talk about that. We first understand what trauma is, and then I tell you a very counterintuitive but strong method of healing from your trauma. Remember, these morning shows are sponsored by Bensofast Furnitures. It's a company which manufactures furnitures. They even have in-house services. If you have a coach in your house and you want them to come and change it and make it brand new, they do that for you. So here on Facebook, just search Bensofast Furnitures, utawapata. The next sponsor is Newness Counseling Organization. And Newness Counseling Organization is a non-governmental organization that offers mental health and counseling services to individuals and organizations. If you are in groups, we come to churches, we come to schools, we come to organizations, and you as a person. And the good thing is, we offer online and in-person services. You don't have to come to us. We come to you. At the comfort of your house, you can be able to resolve the life crises that are really bothering you in your life. Newness Counseling Organization, utawapata anywhere and everywhere. The phone number is 0702-166-771. Now, let's talk about trauma. The topic of the day, trauma. So when we talk about trauma, we are talking about an experience that happened in what people call past. So it is an experience which happened sometimes back. Could it be days, weeks, months, or years? And your mind as an individual was not able to process that experience to a point of coming to a conclusion of peace and harmony. Because when you go through an experience in life, and that experience is familiar to your brain or to your mind, then the mind is able to process that information, and by the end of the experience, then the mind is like, this is familiar. This one I can handle. All right? This one I can be able to process. So when you go through an experience in life, and your brain, your mind cannot somehow seem to fully process that information to a point of being at peace with that information, then we call that trauma. And what we call also PTSD, that is post-traumatic stress disorder, is now the suffering that follows after your mind is not able to fully process an experience, which now we call traumatic. So when you experience something that your mind cannot process, you can suffer that for years if that is how long your mind takes to process that information. Because the day you wake up and your mind is now able to fully process that information and make a sense out of that information, then the trauma will no longer exist. So the trauma is dissolved now. The painful experience that you had is no longer an agent of suffering in your life. Because remember, in this channel, in this page, there was a day we talked about pain and suffering, and I would recommend that you go a step back and watch that video, because it's also going to help you to understand what is pain and what is suffering. Starting from that point, when you experience an extremely painful experience, when you experience something that is extremely painful, so your mind takes snapshots of that experience. What now we could call a screenshot. So if you are watching a video, or you are watching, you see a good picture online, and you are like, I need to capture this moment. So what do you do with your phone? You take a screenshot, so that now you can refer to that screenshot later to get whatever you wanted to get. It's the same case that happens in our mind. So when you experience something that has a very strong emotion, and in this case, negative emotion, because when something has a strong positive emotion, it becomes a good memory. But if it have a strong, unpleasant, or negative emotion, then it becomes a trauma. Still a memory, but affecting you in a negative way, a negative memory, and the other one is a positive memory. So every time that you have a strong emotional experience, your mind always takes a snapshot, a screenshot, as I have said. So it may not, to most people, if the emotion is extremely negative, your mind does not take pictures of the experience. No. Your mind can also take a video recording of the experience. I want you to flow with this, because now it is this foundation that I'm now going to show how your mind is the one causing your suffering. So when now your mind takes either a screenshot, a video, either a picture of that moment or a video recording of that moment, it stores it in your mind, in your memory. And that's now what we call memories. Because when you sit down right now and you remember an exciting moment that happened in your life, and you are like, oh, I remember I woke up that morning with a smile because I was going to my brother's wedding. I remember when we got to the gate, everybody was looking delicious. Well, by delicious, I mean everybody was looking gorgeous, was looking amazing. So everybody was looking amazing. The bride, the groom, you know, the way they were walking down the aisle, it was magical. It was amazing. Then it means, if that is how you are narrating that good moment, you took a video recording of the moment. Because now, at that particular time, you are replaying the video in your mind. You are now replaying the clip of what you saw that particular day. Even if it was 10 years, even if it was 20 years, your mind has a very strong capability or memory to keep that information for a very long time. It is the same case with trauma. If you experience a strong negative emotional experience, your mind either takes pictures of the experience or clips, video clips of the experience. And then, now this is what happens. And then after months, after days, after years, your mind now start pressing the replay button of the experience. So if, for example, today, you are watching this video and you are saying, or you have been diagnosed with trauma, PTSD, you experienced something 10 years ago and today it is affecting you. After 10 years, you are still suffering something that happened 10 years ago. The question is, why? Why are you suffering something that happened 10 years ago? And even to add to that, there's what we call triggers. That if, for example, you had a fatal accident, you experienced, either witnessed or you are a victim, you experienced a fatal accident 10 years ago. So most people, when they get into a public means, if that is how the accident happened, so that triggers the memory. All right? It can trigger the trauma. Whatever the kind of a trauma it was. If, for example, your trauma comes as through sex abuse, maybe you are raped. So every time you see in the news that somebody was raped, that triggers the memory. It triggers the experience that you had. That means that that present experience that you are having, or present encounter, that is of a similar experience to the one that you had 10 years ago, is pressing the replay button of the experience you had. So if today you use the public means of transport, and by that alone, an accident you experienced 10 years ago is replayed in your memory, it means then that that public means of transport usually presses the replay button of the experience that you had 10 years ago. That then means that you, my friend, you are not suffering the accident that happened 10 years ago. No, that's not what you are suffering. You are suffering the Snapchat, the screenshots, the video clips that your mind took that day when the experience happened. So when right now your mind is replaying the experience, then you are suffering exactly the way you suffered 10 years ago. Are we flowing together? We are talking about trauma. And I want to show you exactly what is happening in your mind. And we are at the point where I have told you that your mind, when you experience something that has a very strong emotion, your mind usually take either pictures or video clips of the experience. And then it keeps them in your memory. And it can replay them or revisit those clips later in life. So if you experience a strongly emotional encounter with something, and that thing is positive, then you have good memories. If the emotional experience leans towards the negative, then you have negative memories. And if these negative memories are so extreme, they become trauma. So now, with that understanding, that the reason why you are suffering, it's because you are replaying the clips or the screenshots of the experience that happened 10 or 20 years ago. Then with that understanding, you now form the foundation or the basis of now trying to stop replaying this video. I don't want you to delete the clips. No. I don't want you to do that. Because somebody out there would say now, if now I'm suffering the screenshot I took, or the video clips that my mind took of the experience that I had that day, then I just needed to format my mind. I just needed to forget that the video was there. I needed to delete the video. But I don't want you to delete the video. Because to most people, that is what they call moving on, unfortunately. So when you hear somebody say, I moved on, so that means that somehow they managed to delete the clip, or they managed to run away, to hide from the experience. I don't want you to do that. Why? Because I want you to use that video clip as a reference to learning, as a reference to becoming a better person. As we go on with this video, I will get to a point where I'm going to tell you, do you have a trauma? My friend, you are lucky. Do you have a trauma? My friend, congrats. It will get there. And that statement is really going to make a lot of sense. It's actually even almost going to blow your mind. After now I've taken you these steps, through these steps, and you are going to understand exactly why I will say that to you. So now, I don't want you to delete the clip. I don't want you to format your mind. I don't want you to force yourself to forget. Because there are various forms of forgetting. There's even what we call forced forgetfulness. You force yourself to forget. You push some unpleasant memories back, way back, somewhere behind your mind. The same way, in every house, you find there's a certain corner in the house where, if you look at it clearly, you find some too chaff there. You know, that's why you're going to find an avocado, not really an avocado, but banana peels that, you know, a banana which was eaten five days ago, utaipata kwa hiyo corner. So you push that towards that corner. So I don't want you to do that. Why? The danger of doing that is that our minds never forget. No matter what you do, your mind will never ever forget a strong emotional experience, no matter what you do. So if you push those moments, if you push those memories behind your mind so that you can try to forget them, that's now where we bring in now the issue of triggers. If you experience another moment in your life which is going to give you a similar experience, the memory that you tried to push behind your mind, the memory that you tried to hide, to run away from, is actually going to be revived. That trigger is going now to step on that memory, and it is going to make it just like a fresh wound. And those people who try to forget trauma, creates even greater damage to their mind. Because trauma is a psychological wound. Just like a normal wound that you can have on your flesh, on your body. So if, for example, today, accidentally, you happen to cut your finger, you're chopping some potatoes, or you're chopping some something, and then you happen to cut your finger, and then it just falls down. Or even if it doesn't, you cut it well, you damage it quite severely. If you just take a bandage and cover up that wound, so just take a bandage and then you just, unafunga tu hiyo kidoda, and then you just assume it didn't happen. At that particular time, you're going to feel pain. You're going to experience pain. And maybe you are just going to put some painkillers. I'm going to show you the psychological painkillers that people usually use. Then you try to apply some painkillers on that wound, and then you cover it up with a bandage. What do you think is going to happen after a few days? After a few months? After a few years? So the longer you take before you open this wound and go to the hospital and have it checked, the more worse it gets. Because with the time, you start getting some pus, from the wound. From that now, the wound will start smelling. And now from there, most likely, when you go to the hospital, they are going to say, we can only amputate your whole finger. Or even, that wound will have even affected other fingers. So utaenda kwa hospitali uambiwe, now we are sorry. The best we can do is cut your hand from the wrist here. I think it's called the wrist. So itabidi tu tukate mkono wako kutoka hapa, because all these fingers zimeoza. It's the same case with a psychological wound. So when you experience a psychological wound, and then you apply some painkillers, the psychological painkillers that usually people use is, number one, getting into romantic relationships to numb the pain. So you want to feel or to numb that pain using the painkiller of love, romantic relationship. The other painkiller that people usually use is becoming workaholic. You want to keep your mind busy, occupied with external things, occupied with physical activities, occupied with work, so that you can stop replaying the video clips of the unpleasant memory that you had. That's number two. Number three is the other painkiller that people usually use is over-indulging into pleasurable activities. So what I mean by over-indulging into pleasurable activities is because you want to feel that wound. You want to use the painkiller of pleasure. Because pleasure is one of the best methods that people use to numb the pain. Because when high levels of dopamine in your mind, the pleasure, dopamine is that chemical in your brain, which we usually call the pleasure principle. You know, it gives you the pleasure, it gives you the good feeling, the good emotions. So when now you use pleasure to numb this pain, then it's a painkiller that you have used. So most people will start using drugs and alcohol as a painkiller to the pain, to the psychological pain. Other people will start getting into irresponsible sexual behavior. You are okay having sex with anything that moves. Yeah? You don't care whether it is your cousin, whether it is a chicken, whether it is whatever it is. You don't care whether it is a mad person. You don't care whoever it is. Even if it is masturbation, you're having sex with yourself. So you're willing to do anything to get the pleasure. So you're using pleasure as a painkiller to this psychological wound. So those are the three major common painkillers that people usually use to numb the psychological pain. When your mind starts replaying the memory of the unpleasant experience, you use those painkillers. The number one painkiller is pleasure. You use drugs, irresponsible sexual behavior, and so many other things that gives you pleasure. Other people get into excessive gaming. You start playing online games. Other people get into betting, you know, romantic relationships. That is the second thing, the second painkiller that people usually use. And you don't understand that when you get into a romantic relationship, to heal from a traumatic wound, you actually go to bleed in that relationship. So ukifika kwa hiyo relationship, unaenda kubleed kwa hiyo relationship. So instead of that relationship serving you, it's actually going to add to the trauma. Because your partner, the person who you want to use to heal your trauma, when they wake up one morning and they realize that you are using them to heal your traumas, then they will start hurting you even more. So instead of making your wound better, you are going actually to make it even worse. Romantic relationships. So you need not to forget the memory. I don't want you to forget the memory. I don't want you to delete the memory. I don't want you to do anything to the memory. I want to keep it. And now, here we start the journey of healing. Because I want you to use that memory as the foundation to stepping into a better self. Okay? That door is open for you. The door is open. The door of healing is open for you. And all you need to do is now get into that healing room. So if you have that experience, I've said, I don't want you to forget the experience. I don't want you to delete the memories. I don't want you to format the memories. I want you to use that experience to your advantage. Why? And some people, and there are people who are asking themselves, what is wrong with this guy? What is this guy thinking? I mean, I experienced a traumatic experience. And this guy is telling me not to delete that memory. This guy is telling me not to try and forget that experience. You know, Eliud, do you mean that I can use my trauma to become a better version of myself? I'm saying that door is open. All you need is just get in. Okay? So, Eliud, are you telling me that I can use that traumatic experience to heal from my traumas? And all I'm saying is yes, my friend, you can. I want you to tap into that. Just like I'm about to open the door in my house because there's somebody who is knocking. Just give me 1 second. I open the door and then we continue. And I'm back. And the person who was knocking the door is getting in the house. So now, yes, you can use that traumatic experience to become better. Because the more experiences you have in your life, the better you should become. That is the reality. And that is how this life works. If you have an experience, you should learn from that experience. But unfortunately, to most people, instead of using experiences to learn valuable lessons, to learn lessons that they can apply in their lives and become better, most people usually keep those memories, they start replaying them, and those memories start working against them. Okay? So, for those who have joined us, we are talking about trauma, healing trauma. And I told you that trauma is a psychological wound. It is what happens when you experience a strongly emotional experience. And then your mind is not able to fully process that experience, that moment, because of the strong emotions. When the strong emotions are positive, you have a positive memory. When the strong emotions are negative, you have a negative memory. Then, if the experience is extremely strong, you have a trauma. And I have told you that a trauma is when your mind takes video clips or snapshots or what we call screenshots of the experience when it is happening. It's like right now, if for example I wanted to use to see how many people are watching live. Right now we have 5 people. For now we have 4 people who are watching live. So if I wanted to show somebody that when I was doing the live stream, there were 4 people who were watching, yeah? So I would take a screenshot with my phone, and then I can use it later. That is what your mind does. So when you are having a live experience, so when you see somebody moving in the background, don't worry, that is my wife. So mshangae, so just say hi. Hapo kwa comment section, you can say hi. So when you see her moving around, just say hi in the background. So don't worry about that. So what I'm saying is, the same way I can take a screenshot of this live stream. So when the experience is happening live in your life, I hope you are getting that. When the rape is happening live in your life, at that particular moment, your mind takes screenshots or video recordings of the experience. When the accident is happening live, like the way I am live on air right now, when an experience is happening live in your life, your mind takes screenshots of that experience, of that accident. Because there are people who have been traumatized by watching their parents have sex. Let me say that. There are people who have been traumatized by that. So when your parents are having sex, and then you take screenshots of that experience, then later you start replaying those video clips, or you start viewing those screenshots of the experience that you had. If it was rape, the video clips that you took when the rape was happening at that particular moment, then you start replaying them later. And the same way it was hurting, this is how powerful our minds are. This is how powerful our minds are. That when you are replaying the memory, that memory can hurt even more than it was hurting when that experience was happening live, when that experience was happening at that particular time. Why? I'm going to tell you. For example, if this video, I'm going to save it here on Facebook. I'm going to save it on this page, and I'm also going to download it and upload it to my to our YouTube channel. So if you who is watching live right now, I can see Sami Goge, that is my brother. Thank you. You've sent a message. You are watching live. I can also see Rena. Rena, thank you so much. The most amazing thing, my viewers, is that Samuel Goge is my brother, and Lena is the wife to my brother, so she is my sister-in-law. So those two guys are live watching my videos. Thank you so much. I'm proud of you. Thank you for the support. What I was saying is, and there are two others who are watching. I've already seen that because how do you want to comment? I can't really see exactly who is watching, but you can also comment, my friends, if you are live, you are watching us live. Ndio nijue kwamba uko live. But thank you for everybody who is watching us. So what I'm saying is, for you who is watching this video live right now, you are watching me right now. And then I'm going to save this video here on Facebook and then on YouTube. If you come back tomorrow to watch this video again, do you know what is going to happen? You are actually going to get more insights about this video. Okay? You are actually going to get different perspectives about this video. So most likely, when you are watching this video the second time, you, my friend, are going to have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Why? Because right now, maybe you are preparing to go to work. So it means there are a few other distractions, which are, there are a few other things that you are doing. Maybe you unatengeneza breakfast hapo. Maybe uko na mtoto hapo ndio ameamuka ndio analia. So maybe you are waking up in the morning and you are still planning your day. Psychologically, in the back of your mind, you are still planning after watching this live stream, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go there, I'm going to call this person, I'm going to do that. Nitaosha vyombo, nitafanya hivi. Alright? But when you are watching this video for the second time, you have purposefully decided or consciously made the decision to sit down and give this video 100% concentration, 100% of your attention. Okay? So it means that most likely, when you are watching this video the second time, you are going to have a better experience. If the video is informative, if the video has insightful message, it will be even better when you are watching it the second time. That is the same case for trauma. When you are experiencing you're experiencing the loss of a loved one right now, to say me at this particular time, you have lost somebody. So when you have lost somebody right now, that means that experience is happening. The pain is happening live at this particular time. And it is actually pain. If you take screenshots of, if you save that video, the way I'll save this video, if you save the video of that loss, and then you decided to watch it after 1 year, alright? If you decided to watch it after 5 months, you are going to have a more profound pain. You are going to have a magnified pain. Because at that particular time, you have sat down and decided, I want now to replay the video of how I lost my niece. I want to replay the video of how I lost my mother, how I lost my brother, how I lost my job, how I lost my business, how I lost the pregnancy. You sit down and then you purposefully decide, let me replay the memory. Whether it is happening consciously or unconsciously, the fact is, you are replaying the memory. So most likely, when you are replaying the memory, you are going to have a more extreme pain than what you had when that experience was happening at that particular moment when it was happening. Are we together at that point? Thank you so much, Mary Mwathi, for joining us live. Naona umenitext. Also, Virginia Ghetto, thank you so much. So when you are replaying the memory, it's most likely to be more painful. Now, I want to slide smoothly and slowly to healing. All right? I want to slide smoothly towards healing. Now, how do you heal from these memories that you are replaying over and over again? Let me shock you, my friend. This is going to shock you, because I know you've never heard of this. Did you know that research has shown that and has proven that an average person, a normal average person, usually has 70,000 thoughts every day? An average normal person has 70,000 thoughts every 24 hours. The reason why I'm saying average is because those people, for example, who have ADHD, ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they can have double or triple that. So meaning, if a normal person is having 70,000 thoughts every day, somebody with ADHD is experiencing somewhere between 140,000 thoughts and more. So if you have 70,000 thoughts every day, 24 hours, if you divide that by 24, 70,000, it's going to be somewhere around 2,000. Then, my friend, it means that every 1 hour, you have about 2,000 thoughts. Every 1 hour, you have about 2,000 thoughts. If you divide that by 60, you are going to realize that every minute, you usually have between 35 and 45 thoughts every minute. Every minute. New thoughts. Every minute you have about 35 to 45 thoughts. Because every day you have about 70 thoughts. This is where it gets even scarier. Scarier, yes, scarier. Well, yes, more scary, that is. Do you know that 75% of your thoughts are actually negative thoughts? If you take 70,000 thoughts that you usually have every day, 75% of those thoughts are negative thoughts. Do your calculations, and you are going to find out that, my friend, every day, every day, you have about 45,000 negative thoughts. 45,000 negative thoughts. That is an average person. Do you know what negative thoughts are? Because if you decided to think something, you would not think something that can hurt you. You would think something that serves you. You would think about something that makes you better, something that makes you feel good. But why is somebody thinking 45,000 thoughts every day that are negative? It is because those thoughts, you are not the one who is thinking them. Because if you are the one who was thinking those thoughts, then you would think them positively so that they can serve you, so that they can make you better. Alright? So when I say that you are not the one thinking those thoughts, what exactly am I talking about? Those thoughts are happening automatically. Those thoughts are happening unconsciously. Your mind is replaying a program. And I told you that I want to slide to healing, to trauma healing. And for me to slide to trauma healing, I need to make you understand exactly what you are hearing from. Because you are not hearing from the experience that happened. No. You are hearing from what your mind is causing you. Because you are not suffering the accident. You are not suffering the rape. You are not suffering the loss of a loved one. You are not suffering the accident. You are suffering your mind. You are suffering your memory. You are suffering what you can remember. Because the reality is, if you were not remembering the rape, if you are not remembering the physical, sexual, emotional abuse that is traumatizing for you, if you are not remembering that experience, you do not be suffering it. Because you cannot suffer something you do not remember. Like for example today, let me ask you something. Do you remember that last month ulishika sufuria moto ikakuchoma? Were you remembering that before I said it? Of course not. Last month or last year or whatever time, kuna kitu ulifanya, or maybe even this morning uliamuka kidole yako ukagogesha kwa ukuta, ama uliaguka kitu ikakuangukia kwa mguu, ama uliaguka ukashika kitu moto ikakuchoma. So the fact that you are not remembering that before I said it means that you are not suffering it, because the pain is not happening right now. The pain happened that particular moment wakati ulishika hiyo sufuria, wakati ulijikata kidole. That is when the pain happened, and the pain iliisha, because pain is not permanent. Pain is just a temporary experience that tells you something is wrong somewhere. You need to do something. Pain is a temporary experience that tells you umejikata kidole, mkono yako imeshika sufuria moto, umemeza ugali moto. so inakushoma ikiteremuka. You know, it's burning you as it rolls down. So that pain that you are feeling, and you are like, you know, mpaka unajikuja hivi kama nyoka hivi, unajikuja hivi ukijaribu kuifinya hivi, ukijaribu kuipuliza ikiteremuka. So that pain is your body, is your esophagus or your whatever canal telling you that, you know, umemeza kitu moto na inakuchoma. So the next one utakuwa unameza isikuwe moto, puliza kwanza. Alright? Kwanza puliza before uweke kwa mdomo. So now that is what happens. You can only suffer a memory you remember. So now, if you are having 45,000 negative thoughts, and do you know that out of those 45,000 negative thoughts, 95% of the overall 70 thoughts that we usually have every day, they are what? They are thoughts that are repetitive. They are repetitive thoughts. My friend, what you are, the 95% of the 70,000 thoughts are the similar thoughts that you had yesterday. Do you know that? 95% of the things that you are going to think about today are the same things you thought about yesterday, are the same things you thought about last week, are the same things you thought about last month, are the same things you most likely thought about last year. Why? Because you are following a routine. The reason why 95% of the 75% thoughts are repetitive thoughts, it's because you follow a routine. You usually wake up at 5 a.m. Kama unaamka kama mimi naamuka 5 a.m. So if you usually wake up at 5 a.m. every day, every morning, what do you usually do when you wake up at 5 a.m.? You first check your phone, you brush your teeth, you take a glass of water, you go to the washroom. So that is what you usually do every morning. So what do you usually think about when you are doing those things? Most of the times, you are thinking about, what do I do next? Was there an assignment that I was given yesterday that I did not manage to complete? So those are melodies of my son crying, Kameamuka. Yes, so you can enjoy them. So most of the times, you are thinking about the similar thoughts. Because when you are doing similar actions, then definitely you are thinking similar thoughts. If you usually fall a specific routine every morning, that means then that you usually have specific thoughts. Because when you are brushing your teeth, you are thinking about where your shoes are. When you are wearing your shoes, you are thinking about, will I catch, nitaweza kupata gari kwa stage so that I can get to my workplace on time, sorry. Wakati uko kwa hiyo gari, you are thinking about, so nikifika kazini, nitapata kazini kukoaje. You know, when you are thinking about that, you are thinking about your coworker who you are going to meet. All right? You are thinking about your boss. You are thinking about your salary. You are thinking about your work environment. Then it means that you are living the same life you were living yesterday. So please, allow me not to go down that rabbit hole. Because it sounds like I have now stopped talking about trauma if I go down that rabbit hole. But what I was saying is, I'll pick a day when I can talk to you about what happens actually in your mind, your thoughts, and all that. What I was saying is this: if 95% of the things you are going to think about today are the things you were thinking about yesterday, then, my friend, it means the same life you had yesterday is the same life you are going to have today. Why? Because same thoughts results to same experiences. Same experiences results to same life. So if you are thinking about the same things you are thinking yesterday, you are going to live the kind of life you lived yesterday. If you woke up yesterday thinking about the landlord showing up and crossing your house because you have not paid the rent, if you have not, then it means that when you started thinking that your landlord is going to show up and cross your house because you have not paid the rent, ulianza kufeel some anxiety, ulianza kufeel some stress, some depression. You know, you want to borrow some money, you want to call your landlord now, you know. So that's what you are thinking. So if you woke up today thinking about the same thing, then it means you started having stress again. You started having the same experience you had yesterday. So it means that you are repeating the trauma today the same way you did yesterday, the same way you did last month, the same way you did last year. And that is why you are suffering that trauma. How do you heal from that? You run from it. And by learn, I'm talking about L-E-A-R-N. Because when we talk about your past, you only have two options concerning your past. If you have a trauma, you have only two options to handle that trauma. It is either you learn from it or you run from it. When you have a past experience, your past, it is either you learn from it, L-E-A-R-N, usome kutoka kwa hiyo, ama you run from it, uitoroke, R-U-N. And that is a choice that you make. So your trauma is a product of your past experience. And I have told you that you have two options. It is either usome kutoka kwa hiyo trauma ama uitoroke. It is either you learn from it or run from it. And here today I'm advocating that usome kitu kutoka kwa hiyo trauma. But huwezi soma kitu kutoka kwa hiyo trauma or it is still hurting. So first you need to stop it from hurting. How do you stop something from hurting? Why are you feeling the same pain you felt when the accident happened? Why are you feeling the same pain you felt when you were raped? Why are you feeling the same pain that you felt when you lost your loved one? I told you it is because you are replaying the memory. And when you are replaying the memory, you are thinking the same thoughts that you thought when the experience was happening. If when you lost your loved one, a very common trauma, if when you lost your loved one, you are thinking that I have lost my mother. My life will never be the same again. I have lost my brother who was supporting me in academics, who was supporting me in my life. I'll become a nobody. My life is not going to be the same again. I'm not going to have a good life. Now I will never see my mother again. I will have nobody to support me. I have no shoulder to cry on. If those are the thoughts that you are thinking, when you lost your loved one, that means the reason why it is hurting the way it was hurting, it is because you are thinking the same thoughts. If you started thinking different thoughts, you would not have the same experience. So, for you to heal from the trauma pain, I want you to stop thinking the same way you were thinking when the trauma was happening. It means then that I want you to start interpreting the experience differently. So, when you lost your loved one, your interpretation to that experience was, I have lost a significant part of my life, and my life will never be the same again. That was how you interpreted losing your mother. That's how you interpreted losing somebody. Now I want you to change that interpretation. I want you now to start saying, I lost my mother, who was really supporting me, who was there for me, who gave me this and that advice, and now because she is gone, instead of crying because she is gone, I'll start smiling because I still have the lessons she taught me. I want now to benefit from what she taught me, other than lament from her dying. I want you now to interpret the loss differently. What if it is an accident? I experienced this accident, and that was an experience which I could not control, because there was no way I was going to control or to prevent the accident from happening. So, how are you going to interpret that differently? So then, ask yourself, then, in my life, I should never suffer something that I cannot control. I could not have controlled the accident. I would not have prevented it to happen. So then, I should say the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Sorry, give me the serenity. How do you say it, guys? It's disappearing. So God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So now, you need the serenity for you to be able to accept the things that you cannot change. You could not have changed the accident. So now in your life, those things that you cannot control, don't suffer them, because you cannot do anything about them. That is the lesson that you learn from that. So now, whatever your trauma is, can you think about it right now as I'm speaking? I want you to now replay that memory. Right now, live, I'm hearing you guys. At this particular moment, I want to take you through a step of healing. I want you, right now, as I'm speaking, as you're listening to me, I want you to replay the memory that you are saying is traumatic to you. Right now, I want you to replay the memory. Just replay it. Think about it. Review those pictures of the scene of the experience that you had those days. That moment. If it was the loss of your parent, if it was the loss of your spouse, the loss of a child, a business, if it was an accident, if it was rape, right now, I want you to review those pictures. I want you to replay that video. Replay that memory. Replay that video clip in your mind. Now, while you are doing it, can you stop taking it as a negative experience? While you are replaying the memory, ask yourself, what can I learn from this memory? Whatever experience it is, replaying it, ask yourself, what can I learn from this memory? This is just a memory that I'm replaying right now in my mind. Why should it continue hurting me? And if I am replaying my memories, doesn't that mean that I am the one who is hurting myself? Because rape is not happening right now. The accident is not happening right now. My mom is not dying right now. She died 10 years ago. She died 5 years ago. All right? The abuse that I went through, the domestic violence that I experienced is not happening right now. So why am I suffering it? The reason why I'm suffering it, I want you to tell yourself, the reason why I'm suffering it, it's because I'm replaying the memory. And if I am replaying the memory, which is in my mind, then that means that my mind is causing my suffering. Then that means that my mind is working against me instead of working for me. And the next thing that I want you to ask yourself, while you are still replaying the memory, is this memory serving me? Is this memory working for me? Is this memory making me better or worse? Is this memory giving me a good day or a bad day? Is this memory going to give me a good life or a bad life? What kind of an experience am I going to get from the memory I'm replaying, which was caused by an experience that happened 10 years ago? Ask yourself those questions. And now here is me shooting my shot this morning. Here is me shooting my shot when it comes to trauma healing. If that memory is not serving you, why are you replaying it? If that memory that you're calling trauma is not making your life better, why are you replaying it? If that memory, if that video clip of you being raped is not going to give you a good day, why are you replaying it? If losing someone you loved is not going to help you perform better in your academics, if replaying that memory is not going to help you become more excellent at your job or at your workplace, if that memory replaying is not going to make you a relationship, whether it is romantic, whether it is extra relationship or intra relationship, whether it is inter or intra, whatever it is, so if it is not going to make that relationship better, why are you replaying the memory? And I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, I don't have control over it. It is just happening. I can't stop it from happening. It is happening automatically. Of course, it is happening automatically. Why? Because that is what happens when you program something. When you program a computer, it does it. What we call a robot. A robot has a program which it is responding to. So the reason why that robot is baking a pancake, or you are out there talking to a friend, it's because you programmed the robot to bake the pancake. And therefore, the reason why your thoughts are happening without your control, it's because you have programmed your mind to learn the program. Okay? So your mind is learning a program. So if you want to change the program, then you need to start first of all changing the interpretation that you are giving to the program. Start seeing that traumatic experience as a positive experience. And this is the point where now I told you that I'm going to tell you, do you have a trauma, my friend? Congratulations. Do you have a trauma, my friend? Then you are lucky. You are lucky. Why? Because you just went through an experience that is going to teach you a valuable lesson that no other experience in this life will ever teach you. Do you have a trauma? Congratulations. Because you are about to learn a lesson from that trauma that nobody else is ever going to learn. Make the trauma work for you. Make the trauma serve you. Make the trauma make you better. Make the trauma give you a better life. Give you a better day. Stop looking at it with the 45,000 negative thoughts that you think every day. And now start rewiring yourself, reprogramming yourself to think about that trauma in a positive way. Start squeezing the positive lessons from the trauma instead of the negative ones that you have been squeezing out of it all along. So you should not be suffering something that happened 5 years ago. The reason why you are suffering something that happened 5 years ago, 5 days ago, 5 months ago, 50 years ago, it is because you took a video clip of the experience and you are replaying it over and over again. You decided to carry forward the pain. You decided to save the pain. You decided to put the pain that you experienced 5 years ago in a jar somewhere, and then ukaifunikia, and every morning you wake up, huwa unafungua hiyo jar, unachukua a piece of that pain. And I want you to stop opening that jar. I want you to open the jar and get something positive out of it. Because you, my friend, you are suffering your memory. You are suffering the video clips that you took from the experience that you had. Learn something positive from it. The more negative experiences you have in life, the more positive lessons you should learn from that. The more experiences you have, whether positive or negative, the more experienced you should become. Stop converting an experience which should be serving you into a nightmare. Stop converting an experience which you should be learning from into a ghost which keeps haunting you in your dreams every night. Because you are suffering ghosts that you have created. You see that suffering that you are getting from the trauma? It's your own creation. It's your own mental creation. You did not create the actual experience that happened 5 years ago, but you created the interpretation of the experience. And that is what you are suffering. You did not create the rape. You did not create the loss. You did not create the accident, but you created your interpretation about the trauma. And since then, you have been replaying the memory. I don't want to sound repetitive, but I want you to get this as clear as possible. So later, you can get back to this video and watch it over and over again. Instead of replaying the negative memories, start replaying the positive memories. And those positive memories are going to override the negative memories. That is what is going to happen. Start making the trauma work for you. Start making the trauma your best friend. Start making the trauma your teacher. Learn a valuable lesson from that. Thank you so much for joining me live on Facebook. Was this message insightful, my friend? Did it open the door for your trauma healing? You can say that in the comment section. And also, share this video with your friend. Share this video with your friend. If you want us to do more of these such videos, follow our page. We have a YouTube channel, follow our YouTube channel. My bulletin is stop replaying memories that don't serve you. Stop replaying memories that hurts you. You cannot change the actual experiences that happened, but you can change your interpretation about the experience. And that is what is going to change how you feel about it. You cannot change what happened 10 years ago, but you can change how you are going to interpret it today. The meaning that you give to what happened 10 years ago should change right now. And by changing the meaning, you attach to that experience. By changing the interpretation, you attach to that experience. You are going to change the experience. You are going to change your life. You are going to get better. Smile with me on the other side of healing. Thank you so much. And have a good day. If you find yourself struggling with anything, just reach out to Newness Counseling Organization. We are going to help you. We are going to help you. I guarantee you that we are going to help you. 0702 166 771. 0702 166 771. May you heal, my friend.